Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 3 with the SME conversation, focused on how you can accelerate procurement by immediately connecting freight with capacity at real-time rates. Today, we're talking with 2 subject matter experts in our MercuryGate digital freight marketplace. And my name is Michael Willard, but before we get to those speakers, a few quick reminders. This session is recorded and is available on demand so you can stop, start, rewind, and watch at your convenience. Please take a moment to see the related content we provided in the On24 presentation panel. You can download these deliverables to explore this topic further. Of course, to connect directly with our presenters, just use the contact information in the On24 platform you see. With that out of the way, let's introduce today's speakers, our subject matter experts. Those panelists today include Hope Federer from our MercuryGate team. Hope, why don't you take a moment to tell the audience about yourself and what you do here for MercuryGate?
Thanks so much, Michael. Good day, everybody. My name is Hope Federer. I've been with MercuryGate for a little over 11 years. My current position within the organization is that I'm one of the senior directors within our pre-sales team, really working with new prospects and our existing install-based clients for their solutions. So really working as a solution consultant and looking forward to talking with you all today about the digital freight marketplace.
And we thank you so much for taking time to join us. We also have on our panel of subject matter experts, Dave McCoy. He's the Vice President of Sales for Bitfreighter. And Dave, I'll ask you to do the same. Just provide a quick elevator snapshot of Bitfreighter and what you do for the organization. Maybe share some of your experience.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Bitfreighter is an integration company for freight. We specialize only in freight. And personally, I've been in the freight industry for over 15 years. There was always kind of a challenge in our industry when it came to integrations. They were too expensive. Everything was very difficult to get integrated. It seemed like a frustration that was bubbling over in our industry. And so Bitfreighter was launched, and the goal of Bitfreighter is to be an affordable, easy way to integrate in our industry. So we focus on connecting logistics companies to shippers. That's what we do. And we do that in a number of different ways, including what we're talking about today, which is providing an easy way to integrate to MercuryGate to provide instant pricing.
And we'll look forward to finding out more about that. Again, I'm Michael Willard, a marketing strategist here with MercuryGate and host of our conversation today, which I want to get started here fairly rudimentary-wise there, Hope. You know, we know MercuryGate has thousands of connections to carriers. Maybe you can explain what the digital freight marketplace is and why it's so important to our customers now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. MercuryGate does have many connections with our carrier base. However, the digital freight marketplace really connects any of the MercuryGate TMS customers with available capacity out in the market at relevant rates. So really what we're trying to do for those clients that aren't able to necessarily connect directly, we're providing a conduit with those providers. We do this in the most cost-efficient way as possible as we can. And again, the carriers that have certified connections to the new digital freight marketplace is what we're bringing to the table. Now, I just want to make sure I call out that this is super important because it enables our TMS customers to view rates in real time and instantly book capacity available through our digital freight partners and with those web service calls, as what Dave's going to share a little bit later on. The productivity of our customers really is key for us and the teams that they're working with within their organizations, because we really want to make sure we're able to streamline those processes where we can, if at all possible. So where they have that long and labor-intensive process to find and fill loads, at competitive rates, maybe month-end, quarter close, where it's really capacity tight, we want to make sure we're giving them all the tools that they can to be successful. Again, we try to keep our finger on the pulse of the marketplace. And what we saw in 2019 really was the foresight into where the market was changing and where we were headed as far as capacity constraints, especially going into COVID. And we really took the bull by the horns. What could we do for our customers? So in 2020, we actually started the initial rollouts in the investment and development to really, how can we bring this to our clients? What can we bring to the table? Really ensuring that our customers' ongoing success was at the forefront of our development efforts.
Okay, speaking of development, we know MercuryGate's been able to provide real-time rating for many years. What's changed? What's the new development on that front to make this something different?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right on. We really have been having that for many years. But MercuryGate has really made a significant investment to build the digital carrier connection platform utilizing REST API versus EDI and other older SOAP APIs that consume time to build and also time to maintain. And of course, money. Money is always key. The new infrastructure really simplifies the connection between carriers and the TMS customers. Carriers only need to write to one of our APIs, and they are available to any of the TMS customers to easily onboard. Again, this really makes it even easier, and we're adding a self-onboarding process for both carriers and customers that will enable both parties to quickly get connected via the digital freight marketplace. And we're really excited about this, and it really is a huge win, especially for our customers, as they now have access to more capacity from both full truckload and LTL carriers, which they may not be doing business with today. So again, really being able to bring that to them, be able to utilize carriers that have approvals, and we've done our due diligence in providing them good qualified providers.
Okay, who is going to be able to use this type of system for procurement the most? Who's going to find the most value, Hope?
Yeah, so I've blanketly been saying customers, but really our target is the shippers, our freight forwarders, and our LSPs. And when we think about our LSPs, we're really thinking about those 3PLs, 4PLs that may have an appetite for the digital freight because the 3PL may manage the client rating and the carrier contracts, where the 3PLs are really the benefit for the shippers. Also, from a shipper perspective, if we think about the spot transactional business, leveraging that from the digital freight marketplace for spot transactional rating is really key. So the overages, month end, quarter close, they maxed out the capacities that those carriers have already provided. What do they do? And that's where that long-term effort of covering freight and that stress comes into play. So again, we really are looking at it from those perspectives. The biggest client impact, what we're seeing is our shipper customers taking advantage of the digital freight marketplace so they're not having to foster some of those relationships. But Dave, what are you seeing from a business perspective? What is the client base that you all are predominantly supporting?
In this world that we're talking about, it's mostly in like the broker and carrier world. So what we offer to them, like as I mentioned, we're an integration company. So we focus on connecting brokers, carriers to shippers. And being an integration company, that means that our job is to write integrations. So we have a lot of integrations connecting our platform to the shipper platforms out there like MercuryGate. And then we have integrations on the broker and carrier side where, we're integrating to those TMSs as well. And then we kind of sit in the middle and translate and integrate incoming tenders and status updates back and invoicing. But for what we're talking about today, we also integrate for the instant quoting. So in that world, we have integrations to MercuryGate via API that just is kind of an instant connection. So what it allows for those brokers and carriers is to say, if they have a shipper that they want to connect to, or there's a MercuryGate shipper that wants to have that broker or carrier in their preferred kind of network, and they want to receive instant pricing from them, they can reach out to them. That broker or carrier can reach out to us. They can flip a switch and be connected to MercuryGate and be able to provide instant pricing. Another option for that broker or carrier is for them to write the API themselves if they wanted to do that. A lot of them don't want to do that, or they don't want to put their resources towards that, and so they call us. And inside of our platform, that broker or carrier can set up capacity limits. They can set up their quoting strategy. They can set up all the rules about how they want to quote the shipper on MercuryGate. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say the majority of our customers are brokers and carriers. They want to have a quick and easy way to just flip a switch and be able to be connected with a MercuryGate shipper and just provide that instant spot pricing.
Yeah, and I want to probe into more about how Bitfreight is a conduit to that connection between the freight and the capacity. But before we kind of move away from the digital freight marketplace itself, Hope, I want to ask you, what's different about our digital marketplace, our digital freight marketplace, than maybe what's available elsewhere in this environment?
Yeah, and thank you. I really like that call out because our differentiator really is that we've been working on this for quite some time. It's a stable environment, but we are rendering the largest digital freight provider network to our client base because we have been so invested in this. And of course, working closely with partners like the Bitfreighter, who are transforming freight procurement into the digital world, really has been key for us. And we bring that to the table for all of our client base.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about that primary benefit group that MercuryGate's serving out there, the shippers. And let's talk about Hope. I guess, first of all, why is this such a great and important thing for our shipper customers, the users of MercuryGate?
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned it a little bit before, but let me expand a little bit more. As we think about their shipper base, there's always that concern about capacity. And when we think about capacity, is it the right load at the right time at the right price, right? So our efforts are really to reduce the cost on onboarding carriers for our customers. The marketplace makes it simple and cost effective to onboard any digital freight partner, again, at a lower or at no cost at all. From that perspective, the clients then are able to tap into that, reducing their costing and also leveraging that from a stress perspective. Again, if a digital freight partner is connected to all of our APIs for rating, booking, tracking, tracing, tendering, the hassle and the expense in setting up not only APIs, but also potentially EDIs keeps building up. And with the digital freight marketplace and with our partners, that actually goes away. So we're really looking for that reduction in cost for our clients so they're able to invest in other areas of the business. Again, the big one for me is single platform being MercuryGate, all in one place, never having to leave the platform to exercise all the efforts that they need to do to get the job done, whether that be regular business or, like I mentioned, month-end, quarter close, where we have some of those exceptions.
Dave, how about Bitfreighter? What's the benefit that shippers get from utilizing the Bitfreighter service?
Yeah, I mean, I think about like in the spot world, if a shipper is trying to cover some overflow freight, that spot freight, there's usually a lot of headaches that come along with that. I mean, you're having to, I think about like maybe a Thursday afternoon or something like that, and a load planner is kind of ready to go home, and all of a sudden they get plopped at some overflow freight that they need to cover, and now they have some work to do, quite a bit of work to do to cover that stuff. And in this real-time rating instant pricing world, that pretty much goes away. I mean, you're talking about being plopped to a bunch of spot freight and being able to, essentially click a button and get instant pricing from all of your preferred brokers or carriers out there, and being able to award it to them on the spot. So yeah, I mean, what used to take possibly hours or, up to a day to cover freight is now covered in really an instant. It's in a moment, and now you can prioritize other things and maybe spend more time with your family. So it's a great technology that's really getting adapted in our industry, and I love to see it. It's something that is going to be really fruitful, and already is fruitful in our space, and it just grows month over month too. It's cool to watch it take off.
Okay, now we've spoken about spot shipments and spot freight quite a bit already, but what if I'm a shipper that's typically using contracted capacity, somebody that have already developed a relationship and generally have that capacity? Hope, how does the digital freight marketplace apply in my world?
Yeah, so, as Dave kind of mentioned, there's that spot transactional aspect, but from within the TMS, you can leverage your contracted capacity from a route guide or even waterfall tendering. The digital freight market really comes into play for those spot transactional, the project pushes, the overflows, those order pushes or boosts, even that high demand. This does not, again, negate how you leverage your TMS today and how it really does compound your ability for it to meet your needs. So I always think of it as speed to market, speed to capacity, and speed to reliable rates. So it really removes that frantic end of month scenario, or even the scenarios that I just mentioned, to scramble to cover that spot freight. And again, you're working inside MercuryGate to cover everything in a quick time frame. So staying in one place, leveraging your contracted rates, leveraging your already agreed upon capacity, but also being able to have reliable capacity, reliable rates when it comes to that spot transactional freight as well.
I want to pick up a word that you said there was reliable. That's extremely important in this world. And Dave, how can I depend on that capacity being available? How can I depend on it being reliable and then also getting booked for the right rate that I'm seeing there in the marketplace?
Yeah. So I talked a little bit about us being like an integration company, and you've mentioned the word conduit. But in this scenario, and we talked about a couple different things. A broker or carrier can write to the MercuryGate API and provide instant pricing. That relies on them to also have their own proprietary quoting engine inside of their organization. And that's what they can sign on with us and just have access to that. And inside of our platform, we've spent years perfecting the ability for a broker or carrier, whoever is doing the quoting, to pretty much take all of their tribal knowledge that they have up here of how they quote and load it into a platform. And so when you're talking about that, you're thinking about like, if a shipper calls a broker or carrier and they're looking for a quote, well, that, the broker or carrier, usually they'll check the market. They'll check, like something like a rating platform out there. There's a lot to choose from. I probably shouldn't name any names or anything because I'd have to name every single one of them. But I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. You'd have to check that for the market, and then you'd have to look at the details of the load of the shipment. And those details are like, when is it picking up? When's it delivering? Where is it going? What day of the week are we talking about here? When is this request even coming into me? How far is it going? All these different things. Are there accessorials associated with it? Do I even have the capacity to effectively quote this and cover it? So we took all of that stuff and loaded into a platform so that our customers, the brokers and carriers, can go in and tell things to our platform how they want to quote that freight. So they're able to create a shipper profile inside of our platform. And that shipper profile is like the MercuryGate shipper that they're wanting to quote. And so when a request comes across, that request with the integration we have will be like the load information, the accessorials, where is it going? What's the lane and OD pair here? And then, so when that comes across, our system does essentially what would happen when they picked up the phone. It would go and check the market. So it's going to go and check one of those rating engines to see, what that is for that lane. And then our rules engine kind of takes place from there. So do I have the capacity to quote this? Yes. We'll continue down the rules engine. No, don't quote it. Yes, continue down the rules engine. Okay, it starts to like look through all the rules that people have set up in there. So, when is it picking up? Is it picking up in less than 4 hours? Well, I don't even want to quote that as a broker or shipper because I can't successfully meet that time frame. So I'm not going to quote it. They might have an impossible rule timing. And then it just kind of goes on from there. So what is it picking up in 8 hours? Okay, we charge a premium for that or whatever. Where's it going? Or is this a preferred lane? All that stuff is preloaded into our platform so that when a MercuryGate shipper clicks the button or requests the instant price from their brokers and carriers, that quote that is delivered back to them is the same as if they picked up the phone, called them, or emailed them for a quote, and somebody's manually figuring all that stuff out. That's what our platform does, is it provides that same answer as if they just manually reached out and got that information.
You provided some great real world case applications there, but talk to me a little bit, Dave, about how this is being accepted in the marketplace and how folks are using it. You mentioned, I don't want you to mention any customer names, but maybe give some examples of what you're hearing in the market from some of the folks that are using it.
Yeah, it started off, I guess, kind of slow a couple years ago. This technology's been around for as you guys said, quite a while, but it's really started to take off, I think, in the last couple of years. And we've seen a lot of very large, well-known shippers start to adapt this technology. And I have seen some that have just started to push all of their spot freight to this like instant world because they they don't want to use maybe the spot board auction kind of environment anymore. They want to have a set list of carriers that they trust, that have met their criteria, scorecard wise, whatever it be, and set them up in a list, and just get pricing from those preferred carriers, because they know the service level is going to be there, and they can qualify their other carriers to put them into this kind of instant world of freight for them. And yeah, it's taken off. We see a lot of results come through our platform. We see a lot of requests come across, and those requests go up a lot month over month. And it's pretty cool to see. And we've had a lot of success with our brokers and carriers, customers that sign on for it. We get a lot of feedback from them on how they want to quote freight. And so we're always adding more and more functionality to our user interface. So yeah, I don't think this is one of those technologies that comes across in our industry, like maybe blockchain or something's a good example, where that was like the big topic for a year or so. This is, I think, the next big topic that I think a lot of people are talking about right now, but it's not something that's fluff. It's something that is taking off. It's, we see it as a platform provider. We see the results coming through, and it's something that really is taking off, and it provides a lot of value for our industry. And I think it's something that MercuryGate shippers should be very excited about.
Yeah, and that's a nice segue to talk a little bit more about Bitfreighter and how you guys have provided value. And I know you've kind of walked us through a little bit about the details and how it works, but maybe again, touch on how Bitfreighter is uniquely positioned to bring that value, and as you said, instantly to our MercuryGate users.
Yeah. Being an integration company, a lot of people see us as just kind of a plug and play thing, except when it comes to this. This is something where we do provide a platform for any broker or carrier to sign up and be able to be in this world. So the value I think we provide the most is to open this up to anybody. The brokers and carriers that have fantastic service out there, but they don't have the maybe sources inside of their organization to write to APIs or to create a platform for quoting. And I think that's really, really where we provide all of our value, is to make this accessible to anyone, so that if a MercuryGate shipper finds someone that they want to receive instant pricing from, it's available. They can reach out to us. It's a flip of the switch to get going. They can go in there and, like I was saying earlier, offload all their knowledge into our platform of how they want to quote. If there's something that is, very specific to them, we take that and we load it into our platform. And now, they really can say, yes, this is the way that we quote. This is all of our generational knowledge that we have inside of our organization that is now inside of this platform. And I was able to just pick up the phone, call these guys, and sign up for it. And it's all right there. So, yeah, I think that provides a lot more value than really starting to wonder, how am I going to even get connected to this platform? How am I going to write, this shipper wants me to provide instant pricing for them. How am I going to do that? I don't have the sources to write to APIs. I don't have the means to come up with some quoting software. So being able to just, outsource that almost is super beneficial. It allows access to anyone to participate in this.
You talk about everybody being able to access it there, and some of those tribal knowledge relationships that you've developed for many folks out there. But what if they've partnered with a carrier that maybe doesn't have the technology or the infrastructure that is required to participate or provide this real-time rating? Maybe they can't write to the digital freight marketplace API. Are they still accessible, available to participate? I guess Hope, and then maybe Dave, you touch on it too.
Yeah, and that's a great question. I think Dave kind of started to expand on that. From a MercuryGate perspective, we're working very closely with our partners like Bitfreighter, who can do this for those carriers. So I'll defer to him, of course, to really answer that question, because we don't want to eliminate anyone from that consideration. So using those partners is key for us. So Dave, do you mind expanding just a little bit more to what you were saying around the integrations and with those carriers and brokers?
Yeah. So with us being an integration company, we spent the time, all the effort of, writing the integration with you guys. So that's done. It's with us, it's something you can, a broker or carrier, if they don't have the ability to appoint someone inside of their organization to say, hey, we need to reach out to MercuryGate and get APIs and figure out how we're going to write to this API. And then we need to figure out how we're going to put together a quoting platform that is able to provide a MercuryGate shipper with instant pricing. Like, you don't have to do that. You can do that. That's perfectly fine. Or you can pick up the phone and call us. And we already have the integration done where it's cliche to say, but you really can flip the switch and you are now integrated with a MercuryGate shipper, and you are able to provide them instant pricing because we've already done all that heavy lifting, and we've already provided a quoting platform for you to go in. And inside of our user interface that we've created for the broker and carrier side, you really can input all of your knowledge of how you want to quote freight, to where a MercuryGate shipper can say, I need a quote on this shipment from these 3 carriers that I've enabled, and boom, there it is. And they can award it right from there, and it can get built into the broker and carrier TMS. The broker or carrier can get notifications that they were just awarded this spot load, and it all takes off from there.
And I want to go back and emphasize something you said there. This is really tremendously beneficial for the shipper users, the folks that are using the MercuryGate TMS to plan and execute on their shipments. So, the important thing I know a lot of those shippers are probably out there thinking, Hope, is how does a shipper get started using this solution, in the TMS with Bitfreight?
Yeah, and we always want our customers to reach out to us, right? So the first step really would be engaging your customer success team, those customer success managers that you all are working with. If this just comes up and it's outside one of those scheduled meetings, I know they love to talk to you anyway. But if you don't want to have those conversations, feel comfortable to put in a ticket saying that you all want to add a carrier into the digital freight marketplace. We want to do this for you. But as I mentioned before, we're really excited about the process that we're making on the self-onboarding. So you, our shippers, can actually add the carrier yourself. We're very excited to empower you all as customers, and we're looking forward to this ability to be available to you on the horizon. So again, you can certainly open up a ticket, but in the future, we're hoping that you're going to be able to do it yourselves.
That's great information. It's very easy access to get even more streamlined connections with capacity out there. And, Dave, I know you've kind of walked us through a little bit about how, brokers and carriers can get connected with Bitfreighter and get started using you guys to support our shippers. So why don't we step into some final thoughts, and maybe both of you guys share a little bit about, some parting ideas before we depart. And Dave, if you wouldn't mind starting off for us.
Yeah, I guess final thought for me would be just excitement over, first of all, the ability to partner with MercuryGate and provide this solution to flip the switch. I'm very excited about this technology. As an integration company and always seeing difficulties in integrations, being able to be kind of at the forefront, I feel like anyway, of having our broker and carrier base out there having access to this kind of thing. Anyone having access to this kind of thing is very exciting to me. I see more options for this available down the road. But yeah, I think that this is a technology that is already taking off. I think that it's just going to expand from here. It's the ability to save so much time, both for the broker and carrier and for the shipper. And we're all very excited to be a part of this and be really kind of in the forefront and working with all of these brokers and carriers to perfect their quoting strategies inside of a platform, and to work with shippers who are very excited and curious about this technology and seeing how they're using it and utilizing it. It's fun to be a part of, and and can't wait to see where it all ends up.
Hope, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think from a MercuryGate perspective, our goal is to always be our client's backbone to their success for business, not only to be scalable, but also to grow and achieve those goal sets for the business marketplace. And having the digital freight offering really empowers our clients to grow, scale, and to have a stress-free environment as much as possible in covering that freight, and have it be reliable. So we're excited to be able to be that backbone for our clients and leverage partners such as Bitfreighter to actually make that happen for them.
We're grateful for partners like that. We're grateful for our presenters today. So Hope, Dave, thanks so much for introducing this topic to our audience and for sharing some of your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, and my pleasure.
Quick reminder to our audience, you can connect with our presenters using their name and credentials in the On24 webinar viewer. Also, as you can see on our screen, we provide regular transportation industry updates in our Knowledge Center. That's where you'll find the MercuryGate blog. It's updated weekly with topics that highlight how we bring our transportation solutions to you. Just find our Knowledge Center at MercuryGate.com. You can access all the deliverables that you see on the screen. Also, please be sure to follow MercuryGate International on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Our LinkedIn keeps you up to date on the latest news, solutions, and our events. Of course, our YouTube channel gives you access to our library of video content, including this episode and our next episode. Until then, on behalf of Hope Federer, Dave McCoy, and everyone at MercuryGate International, thank you for joining us for today's conversation.